Listen, Genesis chapter 11 verse 10 explains the genealogy of Shem. Shem was a black man in Africa. If you repeat this back, Genesis 14 verse 13, Abraham steps on the scene. Being a descendant of Shem, which is a fact, means Abraham too was black. Abraham, born in the city of a black man, called Nimrod, grandson of Ham. Ham had 4 sons. One was named Cain. Here, let me do some explaining. Abraham, Isaac was the Jacob had 12 sons, for real, and these were the children of Israel. According to Genesis chapter 10, these were the children of Israel.
You have a huge community in Africa that they know in tradition that they are Hebrews, that they are from child of Abraham and Isaac and Jacob. They know it for sure. You have communities that are running services and prayers by the halakha, keeping Shabbat and eating kosher. They know their roots. Like, you can't argue with them. They're stronger than you. They will tell you who they are. They don't ask you even. And they have the Bible and it's all written over there, and they don't have no problems in life. Except of that we're not able to accept them, to recognize the godliness of the holy tribes that is treasured inside them, their souls. And you have the problem not recognizing your own brother and not understanding that there's a way to let him back in. Because we have today all the power to do that. We have all the sources, we have the land, we have everything we need. Except of the key to our hearts that is still missing.
In my last video, I told you I'll be showing you yet another African tribe who are Hebrew Israelites with mind-blowing evidences. This tribe does not claim to be Israelite and does not even have a clue that they are. Their history, custom, culture, and lifestyle is clearly stated in the Bible, but they've not been able to see it. And the tribe is, wait for it, the Yoruba tribe of southwestern Nigeria. Did I hear someone say Yoruba tribe? How can that be? Can that be true? Or you may be thinking that this is just another African tribe that likes to jump on the bandwagon of claiming to be Israelite because Israel, the state of Israel, is a first world country. No, I didn't believe it at first myself, but after deep research, I came to the realization that they are. In my 15 years of study of the subject, I have discovered and seen overwhelming, irrefutable, and undeniable evidence that points to the Yoruba tribe as one of the lost tribes of Israel. In this video, I will not only be showing you evidences from history books and the Bible, but also from the works of professors around the world. Grab a cup of coffee, sit back and relax, and let me show you what I saw in my years of study. And in the end, you will be the judge. In my years of study, I discovered that the Yoruba tribe is one of the ancient people of this world. And Yoruba is not even their name. Their origin is not really known, as there are different oral history of several origins. Some say the Yorubas came from Mecca in Saudi Arabia. Some say it's from Ile-Ife. Some researchers said they came from Sahara, that is Sierra Leone, while others say they migrated from Egypt. So who do we follow? The truth is, the places of immigration of the Yorubas, according to different authors, different oral history, are correct. For example, in my quest to fact-check what is being said, I traveled to a place called Idore Hill in Ondo State, Western Nigeria, where I was told that the Yorubas indeed migrated from Egypt. That's me there in the center with my wife and a friend on the hill.
If the governor of Lagos State is going to give out land, he should do so only to people of Lagos State or to only Yorubas. That section 1 is very clear. It says, on Nigerians in any part of Nigeria. So I'm surprised because I understand Mr. Obasa, he's a lawyer. So maybe he's just playing to the gallery, but this kind of thing can cause conflict, can cause disorder.
Absolutely.
And all those provisions that we have read out, they are enforceable in law. Yeah. So why does he want to start his third term on a controversial note and on something that shows undue partisanship? Yes, that House of Assembly in Lagos State is for everybody in Lagos State. It's not for people. Where is that place you come from? You are from Central Lagos, right? Lagos Island. Olowo. Yeah, it's not only for people from Olowo alone or people from Iga. Yes. Iga, Idungoro, and all that. It's for all of us.
Absolutely.
From Central Lagos to Abule Egba and beyond. In fact, up to Alakuko.
Absolutely. Dr. Matthias, you have quoted the Constitution. I was cracking up before I come to you. You're not the only one. People are even quoting the Constitution on Twitter. Let me take a tweet from Eric, who wrote, while the Lagos State House of Assembly, led by Obasa, has the power to make laws, such laws must be in line with the Constitution. The law will be declared unconstitutional before a court of competent jurisdiction as it violates relevant provisions of the Nigerian Constitution. Well, Sadiq wrote, they want to make tribal bigotry a law in Lagos. It will be against the Constitution and is another ploy to build a very tall fence between Yorubas and the people of any other tribe, instead of the Nigerian government to always preach and promote unity with intertribal marriages and more. They divide us more. I mean, this is what we are seeing here. I mean, I believe I even heard you earlier this morning, even praising the president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, with all of his speeches of unity and all of that. And we get to see this at this time of our polity. I mean, very unfortunate, really. Yes. Your comment.
Well, thank you, Dr. Bati, for ending on the note of where I'm from, because I'm proudly from Lagos State, yes, from Lagos Island.
You're true Lagosian. You're not like some people.
You mean you are an indigene?
You are an indigene. Tell them.
Well,
some
then
people are not.
Let's begin to define an indigene, because when we look at Lagos State, it's such a cosmopolitan city, and we've had people who've settled. In fact, some people would still challenge my indigenous, my being an indigene, saying that if you trace back to centuries ago, we came from Sierra Leone and then we settled. So at the end of the day, I understand when people are a bit, they take offense with Lagos is no man's land. But then, aside from the legal aspect, which Dr. Bati has just dealt excellently with, as always, is the fact that how do you begin to define who is an indigene? How do you begin to, is it for how many years? How do you begin to separate people? Maybe, my mom is from Edo State. So would you say that I'm half an indigene, so I don't have as much access? Then is it just for Lagosians or for people from the western part of Nigeria? Because if you look in the house, you would see that it's spread across different people who've come into Lagos to settle. And then very importantly, like people have said, is the fact that we are on the path to healing and restoration.
Ogbono was an ally to the Yoruba kingdom of Oyo. Their culture was and remains a dominant force in Africa as a whole. The historian Seik Anta Diop did an intense study of the Yoruba, linking both their culture and language to ancient Kemet, known as ancient Egypt. Kemet was the name the people of ancient Egypt named their country, which spanned the Nile Valley. Kemet meant land of the black people. Traditional leaders and historians of the Yoruba also call their land the land of the black people. In Yoruba, it is said as Ile Adulawo. Even the deities of ancient Kemet survive with the Yoruba, such as Ra, which in Yoruba is said as Irawo. Both of these refer to the rising sun. Honsu, or the moon deity in ancient Kemet, is said as Oshun in Yoruba. The same can be said of Amun, as well as many other linguistic and cultural similarities. This shows that the Yoruba settled in this region sometime after Egypt was conquered by Rome, some 1500 years ago.
Several years ago, my mother, an Akoko woman from Ondo State of Nigeria, told me a story told to her by her father that they came or migrated from a place called Mocha or Makkah or Mecca in present-day Saudi Arabia. You may ask, are you saying Yorubas once mixed with Arabs? Of course, yes. That is why the Yoruba language has some mix of Arabic in it. Actually, the Yoruba language is a mixture of Yoruba, Egyptians, Phoenician, Aramaic, and Arabic language. For example, the Arabic word for onions is al-basar, and in Yoruba, it's alubosa. Just like the Arabic word fitna, which means problem, trouble, worries, in Yoruba, it is called fitina. And by the way, Arabs are blacks. I mean, the real Arabs.
In the Western Sudan, Negro kingdoms arise in the medieval periods of walled and fortified cities, markets, and fairs. Ghana is the earliest of these civilizations, going back to 300 AD. In the 8th century, an Arab writer tells us that the Arabs sent an expedition to this pagan land of gold. African markets, the main source of gold before the discovery of America. Then, about 1067, Arabs from the north, fired by their new faith, storm into the Western Sudan. After years of fighting, the Arabs conquer Ghana and settle there. From this time on, trans-Saharan caravan trade flourishes. And with the trade comes Islam. Islam spreads through West Africa.
They are called by different names, one of which is Kanuri. A Kanuri man is an Arab. This is a modern name of the Shua Arabs. It is their original name, at least the name they are known by during the antiquities. Late General Sani Abacha, former head of state and commander-in-chief of the Armed Forces of Federal Republic of Nigeria, and late Abba Kyari, head of service to former President Buhari, were both Shua Arabs. I can go on and on to show you evidence to prove to you that blacks or rather that Arabs are blacks. But that is not the discussion for today. Back to the story of the several history of the several origins of the Yorubas. From the book, The Origin of the Yoruba, the writer made it clear that the theory suggesting that Yorubas came or migrated from Egypt cannot be further from the truth, and that it is indeed the truth, as most Egyptian words are exactly the same meaning in Yoruba language. checking several history books clearly, checking several history books thoroughly, I discovered these are places where Israelites once settled. Hugh Clapperton, a Scottish naval officer and an explorer to West and South Africa, wrote in his book about how former Sultan of Sokoto, Mohammed Bello, described the people who live down south of the Niger in the Yoruba land. Clapperton wrote, according to Mohammed Bello, the former Sultan of Sokoto, the Yoruba tribe were of the remnants of Canaanites, who were of the tribe of the kindred of Nimrod, expelled from Iraq by Yarubi, the son of Qatan, and fled to the west before they proceeded through Egypt and Ethiopia until they came to Yoruba. By the way, Mohammed Bello was the second Sultan of Sokoto and reigned from 1817 through to 1837. He was also an active writer of history, poetry, and Islamic study. He was the son and primary aide to Usman Dan Fodio, the founder of the Sokoto Caliphate and the first Sultan. In fact, the historical mythology and tradition of the Yoruba people themselves speaks of origin out of Africa in the Near East, in the region of Shem, which is also known as the Semitic region. Professor Dirk Lange of Beirut University in Germany has performed extensive research concerning many West African groups and their origins in the Near East. In his book, The Origin of the Yoruba and the Lost Tribe of Israel, Professor Lange confirms the tradition of a Levantine Israelite origin of the Yoruba Nigerians. According to the Oyo Yoruba tradition, the Yorubas, the ancestral Yorubas, saw the Assyrian conquest of Israelite kingdom from the 9th and the 8th centuries BC from the perspective of the Israelites. After the fall of Samaria in 722 BC, they were deported to eastern Syria and adopted the ruling Assyrian king as their own. The collapse of the Assyrian Empire is, however, mainly seen through the eyes of the Babylonian conqueror at Nineveh in 612 BC. So, there is this saying that says, if it walks like a dog, quacks like a dog, then definitely it's a dog. If the Yorubas see the Assyrians as their conqueror or as the ones who enslaved them, and the Babylonians, they also see them as the one who freed them and made them go back to their homes, then it can be concluded that they are one and the same people. The Oni of Ife, a political and a spiritual head of the Yoruba tribe, was also quoted to have said the same thing, that the Yoruba saw the fall of Samaria from the perspective of the Israelites. It is interesting to note that the Oni of Ife, in his quote, was referring to a historical event where the Assyrian army invaded Israel during the 8th century BC. This event is also in the Bible. He is suggesting that the Yoruba people are aware of this event. It gets more interesting as it highlights the shared cultural and religious belief between the ancient Israelites and the Yorubas.
agree.
Nigeria was always a united country, united by culture and several predispositions in geography and history. To be honest, when we go from as far back as we can think about it, all the migrations through Africa from the Middle East down to West Africa and right down to Southern Africa and up again to Zimbabwe and into Nigeria. And that's how Nigeria was formed. It was a migration that lumped so many people together, and different waves of migrations came. The last that came was the Fulani migration. I mean, there's a book in existence on when Igbo and Yoruba were one language. And reading that book, you don't even, on a daily basis, you listen to the two languages and you find that the root words are virtually the same across the board. And it is not only these languages. If you pursue the migration to Southern Africa, you will find that very many of the languages in Southern Africa, those migrations that move from West Africa to South Africa before moving up again to Central Africa, all of them have common root words. In fact, if you listen to Zulu speech, you will hear Edo words that mean exactly the same things across the board. So that when we are discussing how different we are, and you see a Kanu telling us that he's Jewish, the truth is that the Jewish migrations into Africa pulled so many of the different groups together. If an Igbo man is a Jew, then the Yoruba man is also a Jew. The truth is that all those migrations had common sources. And so the divergences that came up after they landed in various parts of Nigeria, we are bound to change the languages.
There are some similarities between the Yoruba people of Nigeria and the Israelites in religious and spiritual beliefs. I will share these similarities in subsequent edition of this video. The name Yoruba is not the original name of the people who inhabit southwest Nigeria and their descendants in their dispersed land all over the world. The name Yoruba does not even have any meaning in the Yoruba language. Going back to the Oyo Yoruba tradition, the people call themselves by different dialects they speak, like the Ifes, the Ijebus, the Ondos, the Ekitis, and so on. In the 18th century, a British-trained Bishop Ajayi Crowther united the names by bringing all under one umbrella name, Yoruba, which is the corruption of Yariba or Yaraba, a name Muhammad Bello and the Arab called Yoruba people. Bishop Ajayi Crowther, the man who translated English Bible to Yoruba and also English Bible to Igbo. Further back in time, in the 13th century, the Yoruba people were called Emo Yokun, which means strange people of the forest, by the indigenous black people of Africa. They were said to have migrated from Iberia, Portugal, Morocco, and Mali Empire to present-day southwest Nigeria. The then king of the Malian Empire, Muhammad Askia, banished Jews from the empire, and most of them were said to have migrated towards Ondo Forest, southeast of Timbuktu. A name was changed, and the history of a whole nation wiped out, just like that. With these evidences placed before you, You be the judge. If you have enjoyed this video, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Click like, share with your friends, and subscribe to this channel for more informative, educative, and interesting videos. Remember, and ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.